start the next verse, we are going to enter a very profound topic. You have to rise to the occasion to appreciate how beautiful is the topic. Because what we are doing is Chandogya, Bhashyam. It is Bhashyam, Upanishad Bhashyam, which guarantees, going through the Bhashyam guarantees, a change in direction. It guarantees change in the direction of thinking. The universal thinking is different, but thinking about the truth, it is thinking, it is a change in thinking. It is not just a change, it is rectifying the thinking. It is just not another thinking. It is not another direction. It is switching from the wrong to the right. Switching from the wrong to the right direction. That right direction cannot be considered as one of the directions. Because the subject cannot be called one of the objects. The subject cannot be called one of the objects. The subject is totally distinct from the objects. Therefore, the thinking no life really. Before coming to Vedanta Shastram, Jiva never makes the subject matter of his thinking. It's very peculiar. Most wondrous phenomenon. The objects are distant and they keep on replacing one another in life. The forms are never stable. The sounds are never constant. The forms are not constant. Nothing is constant. But what is constant is the subject. But that constant subject, one really misses out the constant. And either thinks of the non-constant or remembers the non-constant. I keep thinking about the objects that are and were and will be. The non-constant really, I go on thinking about the non-constant, but the constant, I don't think about. This is the wonder of wonders. And therefore here, what is said is, Ramzusum. Therefore what is said here is topic. Going through the Bhashyam guarantees the change in direction of thinking. It guarantees change. Hey, if it guarantees change in thinking, it guarantees knowledge. Yes. Somewhere we have to say what is it that guarantees knowledge. You can't say nothing guarantees knowledge. It means what? That means it is unguaranteed. It means what? There is no guarantee, even if it becomes really uncertain. Like when you open your eyes, the sight of the form is guaranteed. Pramana Prayoga guarantees Prameya Jnanam. Are you able to follow? Pramana Prayoga guarantees Prameya Jnanam. When I use Pramana, it guarantees Prameya. Then what else guarantees? Somewhere it must guarantee. I can only have dedication to something which guarantees me what I want. Bas. I cannot have dedication for something which doesn't guarantee me what I want. Guarantee means what? Without fail. Without fail. Like when I open my eyes, perception is guaranteed. When I keep my ears open, hearing is guaranteed. Yes, it is guaranteed. In the same manner, mental purity, when I control my mind, mental peace is guaranteed. Mental control guarantees mental peace. I am telling you. Change of attitude guarantees change of mental situation. Change of attitude guarantees change in life. Really. What else? Therefore, all other things where the adrishtam is involved, there is no guarantee. I have to keep my fingers crossed. Where I have to keep my fingers crossed, that is the realm of karma. Where I don't have to keep my fingers crossed, that is the realm of vichara. Vastu tantra jnanam is different from purusha tantra vyapara. If you don't mind getting perturbed, getting riddled with some Sanskrit. Purusha Tantra Vyapara is different from Vastu Tantra Vichara. Vastu Tantra Vichara guarantees knowledge. Purusha Tantra Vyapara, I don't know, because actions create results governed even by the past. My past can come and influence my present action. Okay, my present time, pata nahi what is there in my past, pata nahi ji. One vegetarian married a non-vegetarian girl. हाँ जी, मुझे अभी कल ही समाचार आया था इसके बारे में. One vegetarian man married a non-vegetarian girl. But neither the boy had asked her whether she was vegetarian or non-vegetarian, nor did she remain. So after the marriage, the boy didn't like it at all. You should have told us that you are a non-vegetarian so that we could have looked for another girl. He said, you never asked for it. I never thought this matters much. You didn't ask for it, I never told. Talak, talak, talak. समझ गया ना? Why? I can't live with a girl who eats this thing. And the girl says, I don't want to live with a man who minds so much what I eat. Forget it. So marriage and then talaq. What is it? Prarabdha. What is it called? Prarabdha. If one hand goes up, this is called Purva Janma Prarabdha. If both hands go up, it is Janma Janmantara Prarabdha. You understand? एक जन्म का नहीं, अनेक जन्मों का प्रारब्ध है. इसको समझना चाहिए. And therefore, one is Purusha Tantra Vyapara, where there is nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. Karma has phalam, but what will I get after editing? I get the result after being edited by my past. Unedited result I never get. It has to be edited by my past. If it is unedited by my past, then whatever I plan for, I should get it. But I don't get what I plan for and what I work for. Successfully plan for, successfully work for must bring me the expected result. But it never comes. That means it's always edited by. And that is why, I'm coming back to the point, Purusha Tantra Vyapara, actions always bring results which are edited by the past. But Vastu Tantra Vichara means thinking about the realities, thinking about the truths in life. They guarantee clarity, they guarantee happiness, they guarantee peace, they guarantee knowledge. Vastu Tantra Vyapara guarantees knowledge. Bhashya guarantees change in thinking. Bhashya guarantees change in thinking. Change in thinking guarantees rectification of thinking, and that guarantees knowledge. Therefore, in a way we can say Bhashya, going through Bhashyam correctly, guarantees knowledge. Yes, why not? Guarantees That bhashya we are going through. And therefore you have to aram se baith ke sunna chahiye. I am only given my reasons as to why one should hear aram se. The question is this. This is a very beautiful, I don't mind taking a lot of time. Nanu, this is the one we have to see. Nanu, onwards. Nanu, katham vastu akritehe. Here is a questioner called, is a Mimamsaka. He is a Purupaksha. The objection is, he says, every word has a meaning, and that meaning has the empirical detail. It has something, exists. A word can never refer to something that is not. A word always refers to something that is. Because reference to what is not possible. Very beautiful, very profound. It gives a very huge breakthrough when you begin Vedanta appreciating this. You can't use language for shunyam. You can only use language to convey what is. You don't use language to convey it is not. What is not cannot be even thought of. See, when you say 5 elements are, sixth element when you say, sixth element is not when you say. It is a restatement of the presence of the 5 elements. You did not. The absence of the sixth element, when I say there is no sixth element, when you talk about the absence of the sixth element, when you talk about the absence of the sixth element, that there is no sixth element, we are not referring to the absence of sixth element. It bounces back and conveys only presence of the 5 elements. Independent of the presence of the 5 elements, you can't talk about absence of the sixth element. You're able to follow. Therefore, absence of the sixth element means the presence of the 5 elements. So, a language conveys what is. This much you can follow. Free from all those details. This much. The summary, you can get the summary. Language can convey what is. Language is not meant to convey what is not. Because what is not can never be the topic. What is not can never be the topic. Therefore, here the Vedanta says, now the context is this. Before creation there was asat. Asat means non-existence. What does asat mean? Does it mean absence of existence? Asat mean absence of existence? No, it cannot mean absence of existence, because language can never be used to refer to the absence. Because even reference to the absence culminates in the presence of something. This is something. I want you to see that it doesn't really just slip off the mind. Any reference to the absence boils down to the presence. It's very, very difficult to hold the reference to the absence. Like absence of wave can never be absence of wave. Absence of waves, tatparya is presence of what? This is the one. You can never have a thing called absence of something. You can never have absence of something. There is no absence. Whenever we make a reference to absence of something, that absence of something is not actually absence of something, it is presence of something interpreted as absence of something. Presence of water can be interpreted as presence of wave. Presence of water can also be interpreted as absence of wave. Therefore, presence of water and presence of wave and absence of wave both mean presence of water. Thus, there can never, and that water can be, language can be used to convey that water, the bhava. Therefore, the word asat is not meant to convey asat. I have given you enough background. The word asat is not meant to convey asat, absence. The word asat is meant to convey the presence of the sat, presence of the truth, minus the form. Minus the form, minus the distortion. Before we go into the Purva-paksha, let this be very clear, one thing. Language is used to convey what is. And language is never used to convey what is not. Why? Because what is not can never be a topic. It is neither the topic. It cannot be the topic of a word. It cannot be the topic of a thought. It cannot be an object of word. It cannot be an object of thought. It cannot be an object of word. It cannot be an object of thought. And therefore, you can't use language to convey what is not. Are you able to follow? That is why Buddhists also said shunyam, they also use the same definition. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasa. For them, shunyam also is like that. But anyway, now don't go into that. This much you pick up. Language used only to convey what is. Never to convey what is not. What is not is not. Why do you want to convey it? Because it doesn't create any problem to me. No. What is not is mistaken as is. You can't say. Because what is not is never mistaken as is. The non-existent is never distorted as existent. Nor the existent is distorted as non-existent. What is existent, the existent unlimited, is distorted as the existent limited. Swarup ka distortion hota hai. Okay, now I come back again. This much, get the summary. The summary is, language is used not to convey what is not, but is meant to convey what is. Now this is one sentence. Now a question arises. All that we are doing is background, which will make the coming lines easier. The language is used to convey what is and not meant to convey what is not. Now a question arises, what is. Why do you have to convey it? What is evident to be. What is evident to be is evident to be. What is evident to be? Why should you have to convey it? I know. What is evident is evident. Why do you have to convey it? And yet, if the language is used to convey it, so the language is not used to convey what is not. The language is used not for conveying what is not. What is not and what is not evident to be. What is not, meaning what is not evident to be, what is evident not to be. What is not, let us take it. And language is used only to convey what is. At that point a question arises, why should I use language to convey What is to be means to be evident to be. To be evident to be means why should it convey? Therefore, ultimately, the purpose of language is this. The language is used only to convey the actual nature of what is as distinct from the distortion. Thus, the language is used only as a pramanam. Language is used as a pramanam only to discern between the actuality and distortion. बहुत बड़ी बात है. It's a huge growth in the life of a student of Vedanta if it is grasped properly. Language has no other purpose. As a Shabda, as a Praman. Shabda as a Praman. Language as a Pramanam has no other prayojanam than to distinguish between the Swarupam and the distortion and Adhyasa. Swarupam and Adhyasa. Are you able to follow? Swarupam and Adhyasa. Swarupam means the actual nature and Adhyasa means distortion. That it is Rajju is Swarupam and that I see it for as a snake, that is called Adhyasa. ये दोनों शब्दों को पकड़ना. Therefore, that the Atma is Brahman is the Swarupa, that the Atma is not the Deha, that the Atma is not Deha, is Swarupam, that the Atma is Brahman, Jagat Karanam, Advitiyam, is the Swarupa. And being seen as Deha is the Adhyasa. Adhyasa is in the form of thinking. Swarupa is in the form of is, independent of thinking. To be, the subject to be is Swarupa. To be thought of is Adhyasa. To be thought of differently, to be thought of wrongly is Adhyasa. So the language is used only to distinguish between the Swarupam and Adhyasa. Clear? Now I have made it very clear. What is the purpose of Shabda as a Pramanam? Shabda as a Pramanam has only one prayojanam, to correct the error about what is. It is not meant to convey just what is. It is not meant to convey, it is meant to convey what is, yes. It is not meant to convey what is not. And it is meant to convey what is, but conveying what is, quote unquote, means showing the difference between what is and the distortion about it. If this is clear, then the coming Purvapaksha and Siddhanta is like that. Uske baad kuch nahi. Clear? Supposing in the meantime, forget all that you heard. तो वैसे ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगा, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. ननु मीमांसका asked this question, very beautiful. Katham, how vastu akritehe, very beautiful language. Vastu akriti, vastu means what is, something that is. Akriti means look. Vastu akritehe, something that is. Shabdarthatve. Shabda ka artha, the sense of every word is always in the form of something that is. Every word refers to something that is. That is. Vastu akritehe shabdarthatve asad ekameva advitiyamiti padartha vakyartha upapattihi. In that case, if every word refers to something that is, if every sentence refers to something that is, then how can the Shastras refer to something that is called, that is not? Asat. Asat means what? Kuch nahi hai, nothingness. Ekameva. So now see, asat ekameva advitiyam. This is what it says. Asat means non-existence. Asat means shunyam, emptiness. Asat, non-existence. Ekameva, this is how Mimamsaka thinks. Asat means non-existence. Ekameva, one. Advitiyam, non-dual. iti padartha vakyartha upapattihi. This is how the Shastra uses the words and the sentence. Therefore, what could be the meaning of the word asat as used by Shastra? This is the meaning. What could be the meaning of the word asat? If every word refers to what is, then the word asat also must refer to what is. But asat doesn't seem to refer to what is. Asat seems to refer to what is not. And therefore, is it not untenable? Is it not illogical on the part of the Shastra to use a word that refers to what is not? Is it not really wrong on the part of the Shastra to use the language to refer to what is not? If you allow me to take one more step, is it not true that your Shastra is abusing the language? Yes. Is it not true that your Shastra is abusing the language? Using the language to convey what is not is what is called abusing the language. Iti Mimamsaka. Is not Vedanta using the word asat unproductively? Because every word has to be used, every word is used to convey what is. Therefore, why should asat be used here? Before the creation, asat. Everything was asat. Everything was asat. Everything was emptiness, zero. Before one wakes up, it's all asat. Before creation, it is all asat. Asat means what? Nothingness. And there can never be something called nothing, which can be referred to by the word. You can't say that nothingness is there. It may not be, words may not be used to refer to nothingness, but there may be something called nothingness. No, nothingness as something as evident is not there. Because if there is something called zero, nothingness, it should be evident. An unevident nothingness cannot be proved. The unevident can't be proved, the evident need not be proved. It's a big problem, it's a riddle, it's a puzzle. It's like, in Brahma Sutra, in the second sutra, Bhagavan says, Siddham chet na jijñāsitavyam, asiddham chet naiva shakyam jijñāsitum. Bhagavan says, if truth is evident, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to know it, and if it is unevident, you can never know it. तो फिर क्या करें? आप अपने आप सोच लो. पहले क्लास में गया, आचार्य ने बोल दिया, if truth is evident, you need not know. If it is unevident, you cannot know. Therefore, in either case, thinking is redundant. Then the students start wondering, why have I come to the class? बात वही नहीं, आप क्यों क्लास ले रहे हैं? किस प्रयोजन के लिए आप क्लास ले रहे हैं? Because if truth is siddham, you don't have to know, think it. If it is evident, you don't have to know it. You don't have to make an effort to know it. If it is already evident, you don't have to make an effort to know it. If it is unevident, you can never know it. Then what is this thinking for? Are you able to follow? In the same manner, nothingness, if it is evident, then it is not nothingness. If it is evident, it is not nothingness. Then it is the person to whom it is evident, boils down to it. Purva Pakshi, the Mimamsaka, asked the question, Sir, why did the Shastra use the term asat? Tad anupapattau cha. And if it is true that the Shastra unwittingly or inadvertently has used the word asat, if you say that it has used the word asat illogically, inadvertently, wrongly, then idam vakyam apramanam prasajjeta iti chet, then the shastram that can be wrong, that can go wrong inadvertently, ceases to be pramanam. You know, in pramanam there is no inadvertency. The eyes can never inadvertently start bringing the sounds. Did you hear that? The eyes can never start inadvertently hearing the word sounds. Nor do the ears inadvertently start seeing it. There is no inadvertence. The fire doesn't inadvertently become cold. There is no inadvertency in pramana. And if it does happen, then it ceases to be pramana. Inadvertency can take place in the mind of a jiva. Where there is Purusha Tantra Vyapara, there inadvertence, not Vastu Tantra. I mean, in the matter of the Swarupa, it is always as it is. When it comes to duties, men can become inadvertently different. Indifferences, whatever. Therefore, if you say the Shastra has used wrongly the word asat, that means it can go wrong. It can go wrong. It can go wrong. No, it has not gone wrong too much. Not everywhere. Ekada jagah mein, ekada sthan mein it has gone. It can go wrong. That makes it apramana. ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात है जी. It can go wrong. Like you see, a person who has never been wrong, but he can go wrong. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. That makes him unreliable. Yes. My planning has never gone wrong, but it can go wrong. That means what? Frustration is brewing up. Disappointment is brewing up. Therefore, in this world, no individual thinking is reliable. No individual thinking is reliable. Only truth is reliable. Everything else is unreliable. And therefore, here it says, if your Shastra can go wrong, then it ceases to be pramanam. It ceases to be valid. Anything that can go wrong loses its validity. Very fundamental thinking. Very fundamental. Bunyadi vichar. Hindi, if it can make a difference. Very bunyadi. Very fundamental. Very fundamental. Paramarthik vichar is called bunyadi vichar. Please understand. Paramarthik vichar. That is nothing beyond it. Kashtha, sa kashtha, sa paragati. Therefore, anything that can go wrong is unreliable. There is only one thing, that the truth can never go wrong. The truth can never go wrong means the truth can never become something other than what it is. Therefore, not only the truth cannot go wrong, or what conveys the truth cannot go wrong. Therefore, the Shastra always maintains its validity, pramanyam. Iti chet, for which Siddhanta says. Purvapakshi is over. Purvapakshi says, my dear sir, words are used only to convey what is, but they are never used to convey what is not. But then your Shastra uses the word asat, referring to something that is not. Is it not abusing the language? And does it not mean that the Shastra loses its validity? This is the Mimamsaka question, for which the answer is, Bhashyakara says, Naisha doshaha. There is something very interesting here. The Purvapakshi puts up his argument with a gusto, with lot of ado, much ado, much of fanfare, much of noise. He makes a lot of noise in putting up that argument. Both. Siddhanta says very nice. उसमें कुछ नहीं है. उसमें कोई दोष नहीं. Very casual. You must see the contrast between the seriousness with which he puts up the argument and the casualness with which he says, "Oh, कोई बात नहीं, कोई कुछ नहीं." आज he, why? Because he sees it where this man has gone wrong. Where the objectionist, the Purvapakshi, has gone wrong. But then explaining how he is wrong becomes a serious matter. Saying that kuch nahi, but how kuch nahi hai is a serious matter. And now he takes up that serious matter. Naisha dosha, there is no flaw in this. Where there is no flaw? Using the word asat to convey sat, there is no flaw. The word asat is used not for conveying asat the shunyam. The word asat is used not for conveying the emptiness. The word asat is used to convey sat. Sat is used to convey sat. Asat also is used to convey sat. Okay, I have given in the background. When I prepared the ground, my introductory lines, I said, the language is used not for conveying what is not, but for conveying what is. And conveying what is also is in the form of correcting the error about what is. How the word asat is used to convey the error about, the word asat is used to convey sat, meaning, listen, the word asat is used to convey sat. And how? It is used to convey the word sat by way of correcting the adhyasa about the sat. How does it do that? Before we go into it, just to get an idea. Jiva, instead of understanding the Swatasiddham as the sat, he looks upon the form as sat. In the eyes of the jiva, this creation is sat. In the eyes of the jiva, the body is sat. In the eyes of the jiva, the mind is sat. In the eyes of the jiva, time, space, form, thought is sat. And the sat is free from name and form. Brahman, the sat, is the actual sat, is free from name and form. As free from name and form, the sat is called asat. As free from the name and form, the sat. Jiva looks upon the name and form as sat. Jiva looks upon the name and form as sat. And the real sat is free from name and form. As free from name and form, it is what? Asat. So asat shabda is conveying what? Asat shabda is conveying the sat as free from name and form. Bas itna hi hai. Asat shabda is conveying the sat as free from name and form. Therefore, conveying the Atma as free from name and form, conveying the subject as free from name and form, is it not correcting the error about it? Are you able to follow? Correcting the name. Therefore, I want you to see how the word asat is not conveying emptiness, but the word asat is conveying the sat as free from name and form. Free from name and form means free from the error. And now see, all that I said now for the last 1 minute, Bhagavan puts it in the first line. Naisha dosha, there is no flaw in using the word asat If the Shastra has used the word asat, there is no flaw in it. There is no dosha in it. Why? Because sadgrahana nivritti paratvad vakyasya, underline this. This is the purpose. Sadgrahana nivritti paratvad vakyasya. This particular vakya, meaning Shastra using the word asat for the truth, is not. The Shastra uses the word asat, asadeva idamagrasi ekameva dvitiyam. This is the vakya. Asadeva idamagrasi ekameva dvitiyam. This is the vakya. Asat alone was one without a second. Before the creation, asat alone was one without a second. This vakya is meant to convey not emptiness, it is meant to convey the sat, which is free from name and form, but taken for name and form. Therefore, it is meant to show the distinction between the srishti, the name and form, and the source. Sat grahana, this is called that. Grahana is very important. Sat is what is. Asat is जो है ही नहीं है. Okay, what is non-existent, we don't refer to it. To be is not grahana. To be is to be. But to be taken for the body is called grahana. Grahana means viewing it. Rajju is Rajju is. To be rope is not grahana. To be rope is sat. To be rope is sat. To be is to be rope. But to be viewed as sarpa is called grahana. Grahana. Aisa manna, grahana. I want you to see the meaning of the word grahana. To be sand is to be sand, but to be viewed as water is grahana. That is how I mean. That's called grahana. This word asat is neither meant to create sat, nor meant to convey asat. It is not meant to convey what is not, nor is it meant purely to convey what is, but it is meant to correct some viparita grahanam about what is. Meant to correct the viparita grahanam. Viparita grahana. Viparita grahana means viparita buddhi. Grahana shabda is a synonym of buddhi. Like sarpa buddhi or sarpa grahanam or sarpa jnanam. Sarpa buddhi, sarpa grahanam, anyatha grahanam. You see, agrahanam, anyatha agrahanam, samshaya grahanam is there. Clear? Therefore, here it says sadgrahana nivritti paratvad vakyasya. Now that whole vakya means what? Asadeva Vedanta using the word, using the sentence that before creation all that was there was only asat, one without a second. There was only asat, one without a second before creation. This particular statement is meant to correct an error about sat, but it is not meant to convey what is not. शून्य को बताने के लिए असत शब्द प्रयोग नहीं किया गया, शून्य शब्द प्रयोग किया गया शून्य को बताने के, असत शब्द प्रयोग किया गया शून्यत्व को बताने के लिए नहीं है, लेकिन सत के बारे में जो विपरीत ज्ञान है जीव की दिमाग में, मैं शरीर हूं, उस दिमाग को ठीक करने के लिए असत शब्द आया है. You see the meaning, see? ना विदाउट आराम से बैठ के पढ़ने के बिना ये सब समझ में आएगा. अच्छा, आराम से बैठने के लिए वैराग्य चाहिए. आराम से कितने देर तक बैठेंगे? 2 मिनट बैठेंगे. मैं क्या, व्हाट एम आई डूइंग सिटिंग हियर फॉर 2 मिनट्स? माय गॉड, वेस्टेड 2 मिनट्स. Why? Because I had to reach so many places. I want you to take seriously. It is not easy for man to find pleasure. Laziness is easier, leisure is difficult. Laziness is different. Leisure is different. Because without vairagyam there is no leisure. Without leisure there is no study. That is why we say sanyasya shravanam kuryat कहते हैं. Sannyas leke, having taken sannyasa means with vairagyam please do shravanam. Don't do shravanam to fulfill a given raga. Did you hear that? Don't do shravanam to fulfill a given raga or to fulfill a given dvesha, but do shravanam with vairagya. उसमें आनंद है. Because there is nothing, because this srishti can, this entire creation, its entirety can't give us more than or something equal to what the Swata Siddham, the source can give us. The source is our liberation. Therefore, Sadgrahana Nivrutti Pratvad Vakyasya. Okay. Now, look at the next line. Saditi ayam tavat. This word, saditi ayam. Ayam means this. Saditi means this word sat. This particular word sat, tavat, shabdaha, this word sat, sadakriti vachakaha. Actually, it refers to something that is. This word sat refers to something that is. Sat shabda sadvachak hai. Like घट शब्द घटवाचक है. घट शब्द जो है वो घटवाचक है, घट को बताने वाला. That is the nyaya, that is the logical. घट शब्द is, घटा is meant to convey the pot. Ghata Shabda, Ghata Vachika. In Sanskrit you can pick up. Ghata Shabda is Ghata Vachika. Pata Shabda is Pata Vachika. Tata Shabda is Tata Vachika. Similarly, Sat Shabda is Sat Vachika. Whereas Asat Shabda is not Asat Vachika. Asat Shabda is also Sat Vachika. इसमें बहुत clarity आ गई. Ghata Shabda is Ghata Vachika. Pata Shabda is Pata Vachika. And Sat also means what is. Sat Shabda is Sat Vachaka. Whereas Asat Shabda is also Sat Vachaka. Why? Because there is no such a thing called Asat. Agar Asat aisa kuch hota, then Asat Shabda would be Asat Vachaka. But Asat aisa koi cheez hai nahi. Therefore Asat Shabda can't be used for Asat because there is no such a thing called Asat. Therefore Asat Shabda also is used for conveying Sat. ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात है. Asat Shabda is also used. Whereas Buddhists, this is too much for them. This is too much for the Buddhists. Without Sanskrit, without that culture of thinking, without that Shastram, this is too much for them. This is too much for them. That is why they concluded Sat is Satvachika, Asat is Asadvachika. दूसरा स्कूल हो गया जी. Sat is Satvachika, Asat is Asadvachika. So Vedanta talks about Sat. We don't believe in Sat, we believe in Asat. Hey, Asat शब्द कहाँ से आया आपको? शास्त्र से मिला. वैसे भी जो सत्य नहीं है, सत्य का अभाव को बताने वाला असत. They interprets the asat to mean the absence of sat. For us, asat means distortion of sat. It is in this sense, it is in this context, it is in this context, it is in this sense. Bhagavan Krishna uses the words. Nasato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate sataha. He is not talking about asat, the absence of sat. He is talking about the distortion of sat. You can't talk about the absence of sat because there is no such a thing called absence of sat. You can only talk about the mistake about sat and sat. This is sat and this is the mistake about sat. But you cannot talk about absence of sat. Why? Absence of sat is not there. Because absence of sat, if it is there, if there is absence of sat, then it should be evident. And it should be evident to me, and that me becomes sat. How can there be absence of sat? Are you able to follow? आप लोग फॉलो करें ना करें, मैं तो जैसे बताना है वैसे ही बताऊंगा. Why should I lose my anandam just because you take time to get your anandam? Why should I not get my anandam? Why should I deny myself my anandam? You say no, we take long time to think and understand. All right, you keep doing it. Take your time. But I am going to explain the way it should be explained. Therefore, please understand this point. Buddhists looked upon asat as another thing. For them, asat means sadabhava. For us, asat means sat anyatha grahana. The viparita jnanam about sat is called asat. And that is why Bhagavan Krishna says, Nasato vidyate bhavaha. Nasato vidyate bhavaha. Na bhavo vidyate sataha. Meaning what? जो असत तो distortion है, it is तीनों काल में it is not a fact. The error is not a fact. The error is never a fact. The fact is never non-existent. Or the error is never existent. The error is never existent. The truth is never non-existent. The error is never existent. The truth is never non-existent. He is only talking about truth and error. He is not talking about सदाभाव. सदाभाव कोई शब्दों का विषय नहीं है. बहुत बड़ी बात है ये. I hope you are able to. The language is not used by the scholars to think about, to talk about the absence of truth. सत का अभाव शब्दों का विषय नहीं है, क्योंकि सत का अभाव है नहीं. Whereas for the Buddhists, asat matlab, for them, what do they mean by asat? What do they mean by asat? Sataha abhav, absence of sat. For them, asat means absence of sat. For us, what is asat? Distortion about sat. Distortion about sat. Absence of sat nahi hai. Therefore, even the thought there is no sat is also a distortion about the sat. I am a form is a distortion of the sat. I was not is a distortion of the sat. I will not be is a distortion of the sat. I am but a form is also a distortion of sat. There can only be sat and distortion about it. And distortion about it is what triggers samsara. And the Shabda Pramana comes to correct that distortion about the Sat. Sat ka abhav roop asat nahi hai. Sat ka abhav roop asat nahi. Asat ka matlab sat ka abhav nahi hai. This whole thing, to do avagahana of what you are hearing now, makes a lot of difference in life. Death is not sat abhav. Death is not absence of our existence. Our view of death now entertained is a distortion about sat. Death is not experienced. We think of death as absence of existence. We think of death as existence of our as absence of our existence. That thought of the absence of our existence is a distortion about the Sat, the existence. समझ गए ना? So is there a difference between Buddhists or not? Buddhism, what is Buddhism? मालूम नहीं. Sadakritivachakan. So now I have completed the next line. Saditiyayam tavat shabdaha sadakritivachakan. Sat shabda means only sadvachakaha. Ekameva advitiyamityetau cha. Ekameva advitiyamityetau cha. And ekam and advitiyam, these two words are qualifying that Sat. There was only, see, first before we see the negative, is very beautiful. हम तो करेंगे आगे क्लास में. संस्कृत में ऐसा होता है. This is very important. अधर्मः, supposing you say. अधर्म शब्द को समझने के लिए पहले धर्म को समझना है. जो धर्म नहीं है वो अधर्म है. मतलब धर्म की विपरीत ज्ञान हो, धर्म की अभाव हो या धर्म का कुछ भी हो, विरुद्ध हो, कोई भी हो, समझने के लिए धर्म शब्द समझना चाहिए. जो धर्म नहीं है वो अधर्म है. आत्मा, अनात्मा, 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 दिस इज कॉल्ड नंज. नंज मीन्स नेगेटिव. नंज, नंज, नंज. जैसे आत्मा, द ऑपोजिट ऑफ इट इज अनात्मा. This opposite is what conveys that opposite is called nanj. Nanj or nine. Cha, cha, ja, cha. Then what is it? I tell you this, nya is free for all. This nya is free for all. अपना अपना मर्जी से बोल देते हैं. Nobody knows what. Cha, cha, cha. It's a labial. Cha. It's a labial. Yes, labial. Cha, cha, ja, cha. Ya, ya, ya. Na, ya. Nai. Nai means nakar. जैसे in हिंदी में ना जा रहे हैं ना, that is called nai. Nakar conveys the opposite. Atma, what is the opposite of it? Anatma. Dharma, adharma. Are you able to follow? Satyam, asatyam. Adaraha, anadaraha. Avritihi, anavritihi. This is what is called nanj. Therefore, in order to understand the nanj called asat, we have to understand the meaning of sat. Therefore, to get the meaning of asat, we have to first get the meaning of sat. अगर सत का अभाव असत है तो असत शब्द को लाने के लिए पहले सत्य नहीं है. असत शब्द का अर्थ को समझने के लिए पहले सत शब्द का अर्थ को समझना जरूरी है. अगर आप कहते हैं असत का मतलब सत का अभाव है, तो जब सत का अभाव है असत शब्द का अर्थ कैसे निकलेंगे? आपके अनुसार यदि असत का अर्थ सत का अभाव है, in order to reach the meaning of the word asat, I must first get the meaning of the word sat. अगर सत का, अगर कोई ऐसा चीज नहीं जो सत्य नहीं है, तो असत शब्द का भी अर्थ नहीं हो सकता है. इसलिए to understand, in order to understand the meaning of the word asat, I have to stand on sat. Bhagavan is going to give a par excellence example. पूरा भारत की धन को, जितनी सोने है ना, सारी माता जी लोगों के पास बहुत सोना होता है. All the gold that is available in India, if it is given to Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji as a Diwali gift, it is still less for this one thing, for this one breakthrough. You cannot arrive at the meaning of the word asat unless there is sat. And the example that he gives is, घोड़े के ऊपर ही बैठ के घोड़े को इधर उधर मोड़ सकते हैं. घोड़े के सामने जो कोई चीज है उसको हटा सकते हैं घोड़े के ऊपर ही बैठ के. घोड़े के ऊपर बैठे हैं. You are still riding the horse and you have a stick in your hand, and if there is something obstructing the pathway, you can remove that obstruction from the pathway, from the front of the horse, sitting on the horse. In that manner, we can understand what the asat means, seated on sat. Seated on this earth, if we arrive at asat, what would be that asat? Only distortion of sat, not abhava of sat. Seated on the sat, you can't arrive at the absence of sat. Did you hear that? Seated on the sat, you can't arrive at the absence of sat. Seated on the sat, you can arrive at the distortion of the sat and negate it. सत की बल से ही सत के बारे में जो विपरीत ज्ञान है उसको हटा सकते हैं. सत की बल पर ही सत के बारे में जो कंफ्यूजन है उसको हटा सकते हैं. सत के बल पर ही. इसलिए यहां पर कहते हैं, now please see, now we are just concluding. एकमेव अद्वितीयमित्येतौ च सच्छब्देन समानाधिकरणे समानाधिकरणौ. You can put a mark there. Sat, ekam, advitiyam have samanadhikaranyam. Truth, there was only Sat, which is one without a second. This is all samanadhikaranam. Having arrived at the positive, then we arrive at the negative. Unless there is a positive, the absence, you cannot arrive at the negative unless there is positive. Absence can't be arrived, or anything. You can't think of the absence unless there is presence. If there is presence, you don't arrive at the absence. You only arrive at the distortion. You correct it. This is a huge breakthrough in Shastra. Very, very beautiful. A great, if we had not put down this Bhasham, I tell you, it is a loss to the nation. किनके पास टाइम है इन चीज़ों में जाने के? इनके पास टाइम है शास्त्र में. मूल श्रुति को पढ़ने के लिए टाइम नहीं. भाष्य में कौन जाए? प्रचार करने वाले सब भाष्य में पढ़ाते हैं. तो माला हैंड ओवर करते हैं, माला जप कर लो, वो तो ठीक है. आई डोंट वांट टू से एनीथिंग, बट देन दैट इज हाउ. बट देन everything has its place, but then this is different. Your Vedanta is different. अगर कुछ करना है, बैठ के वेदांत सुनो. कुछ नहीं कर पाए जीवन में, कोई बात नहीं, बैठ के वेदांत. I'm never used to making effort, Swamiji. I'm not used to making money. I'm a very, 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 easy go lucky kind of person. Then come to Vedanta and make use of that nature for Brahman. I tell you, that is very, very, very suited for moksha. Easy-go-lucky nature. This easy-go-lucky nature is very, very conducive for moksha. आराम से बैठ, अगर कुछ करना है, आराम